Well, now to an urgent situation that's being monitored by SpaceX as a piece of one of its rockets crashes into the moon.
Now, despite that, astronomers are actually on the edge this morning. NASA sees it as an opportunity to conduct more research on the moon's surface. So joining to break it all down, a pair of former NASA astronauts, retired Air Force Colonel Terry Virts, as well as former commander of the International Space Station, author of Dinner with an Astronaut, Leroy Chiao. So Terry, I'll start with you. So SpaceX says this piece of its abandoned Falcon 9 rocket's been floating around in space since last year's launch. How often does this kind of stuff happen when it comes to space debris? Because I know that's becoming a growing concern.
Well, space debris is definitely a growing concern. This is an unusual one. It launched 2 landers on the moon last year, and it was supposed to burn up in Earth's atmosphere, kind of like the Artemis 2 mission that went to the moon. The moon's gravity brought it back to Earth. It was going to burn up in Earth's atmosphere, but it missed, and it went around Earth and went back to the moon. So this was a little bit of an unexpected thing. It's actually a bonus for NASA because we get this experiment, this object of known size and mass and velocity hitting the moon. We can learn a lot about what the moon is made up in the moon's history. So it's kind of an accidental, like I said, bonus for NASA. Very different situation than the debris in Earth orbit, which are satellites that are supposed to be in Earth orbit. It's getting very crowded there, and we can't let it get too crowded, or it might make space almost uninhabitable. So that's a different situation altogether.
Well, to Terry's point, NASA already diving into its new research project. Now, this is going to create a very large crater on the moon. They're already wanting to study the surface there. While this isn't really the ideal way for it to happen, Leroy, do you think we'll learn more about the moon and its surface like this week, next week? When can we expect this?
Well, sure, and as was pointed out, the astronomers are very excited, other scientists are excited. The area has already been imaged, I believe, by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and we're going to learn a lot about the composition of the ejecta, if you will, the regolith and the dirt, if you will, that it was sent up into the, above the surface. And that's, of course, soil that has not been exposed to the environment, the surface environment. So scientists are very excited about that. And this is not the first, it's fairly rare, but it's happened over the years, intentionally and unintentionally. For example, during the Apollo program, NASA crashed third stages into the moon so that seismometers left behind by the astronauts could kind of characterize the interior of the lunar, the lunar body. And also the L-Cross, very significantly, with the upper stage for that mission was crashed into a South Pole crater, and then the ejecta was analyzed, and that proved the existence of ice water on the lunar surface inside of these deep craters. The Chinese have accidentally, crashed into the moon before with their upper stage. And so this is not completely unusual, but it is an opportunity, to learn more about the moon.
So, Terry, I mean, obviously you mentioned, the historic Artemis 2 mission, and obviously that they were sending rovers up there. But how big of a deal is it that they missed the Earth? I mean, you said it's kind of rare. That's not something you want to miss.
Well, it wasn't, I don't think that they were necessarily specifically targeting a spot on Earth. Like for Artemis, they definitely were. There were human beings on board. It was a controlled, capsule. That's something that you didn't want to miss when you came back to Earth. This was just an empty shell of a rocket. It was a fuel tank. So it was basically the size of a fuel bus, no more fuel inside, and it was just flying uncontrolled. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I said, the plan was for it to hit Earth so it would burn up and not become debris. But they missed. From what I've read, they don't know exactly why that happened. But the good news is we get a bonus experiment. So this is going to be good news, like Leroy said, for scientists. But all these craters on the moon, we don't know exactly what caused them. This is a crater that we're going to know exactly what caused it. So it's going to help us understand the whole moon's history. And it's something that we call truth data or truth source. Like we'll know this and we can extrapolate that to all the other craters.
Well, and the one thing we do know from Elon Musk is he does like to blow up and crash a few things, and he calls those learning opportunities. So we'll see what he learned from this. Terry, Leroy, great to see you guys. Very fun discussion. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well,